And now, it is my great pleasure to welcome Rudy, a licensed counselor, Buddhist practitioner, and man of many wonderful things. You will now be joining us up here for an impermanent life, a Buddhist view of life, and an impermanent practice.
Hello, everybody. Feels good to be here again. It's been a few years since I've been live, right? Since we met face to face. Ever since the coronavirus. I think the last time that I spoke for you was for a New Year's end of the year service that we did. And I don't know if you remember that I did a presentation on a resolution to make no resolution. Do you guys remember that? And the reason I'm bringing that up is because with the subject today of impermanence, a resolution to make no resolution really ties into that. Why was it that I suggested for that New Year's Eve to make no resolutions? Do you remember? What was the message? The message was that since everything is taking place all of the time, impermanence is taking place all of the time, to tell ourselves year after year that we're going to do something different this year with no plan behind it, not being mindful of the steps that it will take to accomplish something, we set ourselves up. So over and over, we keep making ourselves feel good through ideas and stories that we create, and we project them onto the future, but we never really think of the effort that it will take to accomplish it. And so we get that immediate rush of feel good because I'm going to stop smoking. I want to start working out. And a week later, I failed again, you know. And so I suggested to make no resolution that year, other than to just moment by moment, continuously be awake in the decisions that you're making, that they may support whatever your goals or you want to achieve. Okay, so before we start, what I'd like to do is a couple of minutes just to meditate and to just settle into being here, okay? Okay. What I would like you to do now is take a deep breath. And as you let out the breath, leave everything behind that you're bringing into this room, into the church today. See if you can make yourself a blank slate to just hear whatever the message that is intended for you to hear. A deep breath and let go of all your ideas, perceptions, feelings. Let it all go as we breathe out. Deep breath. Just for the time being, we're letting go. We can pick it all back up when we are done. Let's see what it feels like to be in the present without a narrative in our heads, without the monkey mind jumping from tree to tree. Deep breath. And settle. We keep settling into the present moment. Our lives is not a story. Our lives is taking place right here, right now. And it's becoming through the choices that we make right here, right now, through body, speech, and mind. Deep breath. Our lives is not a story. It's manifesting itself right here, right now. As thoughts come up, let them just flow like clouds, not attaching ourselves to them, not giving them power, not allowing them to become. Deep breath. The only life that's taking place right now is taking place right here, right now. When you're ready, just open your eyes. Okay, open your eyes. So the message that I have for you today, right? It's my gift to you, and what I would like for you is to see and understand that your life is not taking place in your head as a story. Whatever you have going on right now, whether it's your grandchildren, your relationships, financial situations, whatever you have as a story running in there, that's all it is. It's a story. It's not taking place right here, right now. The only time that we can actually make changes in our life is in the present moment. And understanding impermanence and understanding and accepting that everything is continuously changing is where we empower ourselves to actually be alive in our own lives and be actively taking place in our lives here. So many times I'm in my life and I am here with somebody talking, but my mind is somewhere else. You see, so which means is like I'm not really here. My life is passing me by and I'm acting as a puppet as I am here, but I'm not really presently here. Okay. So for me, my meditation training, that's what it's about, is in the ability to sit. And when I'm breathing and when I'm training myself with the breath, I'm really training that monkey mind to be at my command. That when I said I want to be in my life, I want to be presently active, consciously active in my life right now, that I could actually have the power to do so. And if I can't quiet my mind, to be okay letting my mind just be, you know, all over the place and allowing it to be. But just because the mind is jumping from problem to problem doesn't mean that I have to resolve every single problem when it wants it to. You know, like right here, right now, my present experience as this human being that is manifesting itself as a body and as a mind and awareness, manifesting itself in this experience right now, I am trying to be present with you. But as I am present with you, I do have a mind, a monkey mind that's jumping back here. It's judging me right now. It's saying, are you doing the right thing? Are you guys okay with what I'm sharing? Am I being congruent with what I'm saying? And as I am sharing with you and looking at you, I can see that all that is going on. And at any moment, any one of those thoughts can just grab me and take me. And there I go. What will happen then? If I go with one of those fearful thoughts, it will manifest itself where? Right here, right now with you. You will sense it. I will get lost. I get shaky. All driven by fears, all driven by inner stuff that is part of Rudy's makeup that is working me right now. And we all have that, but it's okay. If we have the ability through meditation, through using breath work, to at least throughout the day, and I'm not saying to go home and have to practice a half hour of quiet meditation and sitting down. That's not it. It's the ability to train ourselves and to know that we have the ability to have awareness from inside that is continuously observing. And it's a guide for us, and it's letting us know, like right now, my awareness lets me see that I'm moving my hands. My awareness is letting me know I'm here at a church. My awareness is not making decisions. My awareness is a mirror of myself in this experience. So what I would like for you is to get today just a message that at any moment, if you bring yourself into awareness, into the present moment, you can empower yourself, because then we do have choices on how we choose to act. We're not impulsively being driven by the story. Like if the story is telling me right now, I'm not being congruent in what I'm sharing, and I start getting worried about it, then my heart will start beating harder. Chemicals will start happening, and I'll start getting anxious. I'll start losing track of what I'm trying to say. Okay. So what I had in mind, you're going to see. And hello, everybody online. It's been a little while. Okay. So you see here the 5 aggregates. All right. In Buddhism, the manifestation of each one of us as a human being is made up of these 5 aggregates. So in other words, I want to do it this way. Imagine that each one of us, it's a loaf of bread. And that loaf of bread is made up of 5 ingredients, right? And I wrote here, I'm not a baker, so, but I came up with, okay, this loaf of bread is made up of flour, yeast, water, eggs, and salt. So we have 5 ingredients, right? Over here we have form, which is the body. So for any of us to exist, what do we have? A body first with a sensorial system. So this body is the hardware system. It has a keyboard, the eyes, nose, taste, ears, skin, and there's a 6th sense, which is the mind. The mind, it's also looking at objects. And when that mind looks at an object, a mental object, thinking occurs. So thinking, tasting, hearing, feeling, they're not just things that all of a sudden just like, poof, I'm feeling, I'm hearing. There's a process going on right now. Here's my hardware system. There's your hardware system. My voice right now is hitting your keyboard. The sound waves are going into your eardrums. They're vibrating, and inside is being interpreted, and you're making sense of sound waves. So you see, so hearing, it's a process. It's a process of an object that is talking, a receiver, a sensorial system, and when they come together, they manifest themselves in an action, which is hearing, tasting, thinking, feeling. You see? So I myself am not just a happening. I am a process that is taking place right now through this body, through feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. And I'll explain to you what I mean by that. Reality right now is taking place like this. Let's say I was walking through a garden. Here's my body, the hardware system, right? I'm walking, and then my keyboard, I see a snake on the side, and what do? So the first one is form is there. What's the second one? Feeling. So if you see a snake when you're walking, am I going to go and hug it and embrace it, or is the reaction like, right? So based on your memories, based on your experiences with snakes, you're going to have an initial automatic response. So I'm walking through the garden, I see a snake, and I jump back. Is that pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? Unpleasant, right? So then what's next? A perception. A perception is what? The labeling of what we're perceiving. So what do I label it? Snake. Okay, so here's the keyboard system. Got hit through the eyes by an object. That object creating a feeling, and that feeling was unpleasant. The next thing was the perception. Labeled it, snake. Then comes what? Mental formation. What's the mental formation? That's the narrative about that snake. Where's that narrative coming from? from our memories, right? Our memories. When we were little, we were conditioned to like snakes, and they were beautiful, and they were pets, and they're part of nature. And when we saw that snake, we probably might run to it and say, oh, what kind of snake is it? But it is all dependent on our memory and what we recorded with that object. You see? And then the fifth one would be consciousness, which is the ability to actually just observe the whole experience as it's happening. Okay? So you see that whole experience of me jumping and being afraid of a snake and decided to either kill it or not kill it, all of that, it's not just a magical moment that it's just happening. It is a process that is happening. And that is just with one object. So each one of these right here, each one of these 5 items are continuously generating our present moment. You with me so far? So we have 5 ingredients. So here's the thing. To make this loaf of bread, this Rudy loaf of bread, we need the 5 ingredients. Now, the flour is not the bread. The yeast is not the bread. None of those 5 items themselves are the bread itself. So my body is not me. My feelings are not me. My perceptions are not me. My mental formations are not me. Awareness is me, which is observing, because it's unwaverable. It's not changing. Awareness is just telling you how it is. But anything else that's continuously changing, that is part of impermanence, I got lost, I'm sorry. It's continuously changing. Let me go back to the 5 ingredients then. So to attach ourselves to our body, right? So when we look in the mirror and we perceive ourselves, and then we start judging ourselves as if that is me, that would be like saying the flour is the bread. It's not. We need all 5 ingredients to come together to manifest itself as this loaf of bread. How can we affect the outcome of that loaf of bread? By affecting what? The ingredients, right? So if we change the amount of flour that we use, that will change the manifestation of that loaf of bread. If we change our feelings, if we change our perceptions. So the whole point here is that we are actually in control of the present moment if we are aware of what is happening. But if we're just in the blur of what is happening, we're going to be impulsive and reactive because we're going to be in a survival mode. But when we're aware that everything out there is a projection of my memory onto objects, then I can start regaining control of the choices that I make in my relationship to each one of those objects. See, so your life is not a magical thing that is just like happening right here, right now. Your life is a product of your feelings, of your choices, of perceptions, of memory that are all coming together, manifesting themselves as this experience right now. This loaf of bread, this Rudy bread that is manifesting itself right now, as I am varying the ingredients right now, as I shift my feelings, as I shift my perceptions, it is continuously registering and affecting my present moment. So we're not blindly at the mercy of whatever. That is when in Buddhism, when we're in our ignorance, when we're unaware that everything is a process, then we will start making things up and I will project what I want it to be. You know, like if you hurt me today, I might perceive it as you're just a mean person, but I might not know what happened to you earlier, what's been going on in your life that has led all the way up to maybe you acting this way towards me. It's not just me. We're continuously a process at work. Okay? So, where are we at? Good. Okay. So, the present moment, it's always a memory. This present moment is a memory. How do you know this church? How do you know me? When you saw me, when I walked in and you saw me, and you were like, if you didn't know me, maybe you ignored me and you didn't even know what's going to be the speaker, right? And some of you were like, hey, Rudy, what is that based on? Memory. If every morning you woke up in your bedroom and when you first open your eyes, we're groggy, right? We don't know, kind of like, oh, where am I? The sensorial system, the hardware system is coming alive. And as I open my eyes, I'm like, oh, where am I? And I look around and the eyes see objects. Memory comes back and I project my room. You see, this building here is a church because we have labeled it a church, because we have consciously made a choice that certain symbols and certain things put together, we label it a church. But if it wasn't for us projecting our idea onto the building, this would just be a building. So we are the creators of everything all the time. We're meaning-making machines. We label things, we give them meaning, and we believe that they are. And we think that they're out there. And they're not out there. They're in here. This sensorial system is picking up information, labeling everything, creating feelings. So there's a process that is going on, manifesting itself as what we call life. Okay. Let's see. So imagine how scary it would be if we didn't have memory and everything all the time was brand new. We would be we would Google Maps continuously because we wouldn't know anything, right? So the reason I bring that, the importance of having to understand that the present moment is a memory, is because a lot of our isms today is based on the not understanding that what I am seeing out there is a projection of my past histories onto you. See, when racism, for example, is occurring, what is it? It is however my conditioning was growing up, whatever my parents told me about certain people. Just because I had a bad experience getting bullied growing up by a specific type of people, I make up bad. And then from that point forward, every time this hardware system sees an object like that, what's the feeling? Like the snake, bad, right? So if somebody told me that somebody that looks like you, it's like, that's dangerous, it's bad. And every time I see that, it's like, oh, bad. I'm not giving you a chance for us to have a relationship in the present moment, because I'm continuously projecting onto you my memories. I am keeping you imprisoned in my own mind, in my own stories. If I continuously project your old stories onto you, and for years you've been working on yourself and changing, and I haven't seen you, and then all of a sudden you show up, and I project onto you 4 years ago. Yeah, see what I'm saying? I'm locking you into your old self and not giving the present moment the opportunity to manifest itself as the new present moment. Every moment that we have, if we're continuously projecting our memories and believing that that's what that is, we're continuously reliving our past. We have relationships with objects all over. This keyboard system has relationship with objects everywhere. Those objects are generating feelings and stories. So where we take this keyboard system is very important, because what it's getting hit by is going to produce chemicals, feelings, perceptions, and that's going to become our world. So if I'm an addict, for example, and I'm trying to abstain, or whatever your issue is, you're trying to abstain from a specific behavior. Well, you don't want to take your keyboard somewhere where when it gets hit, your memory is going to be what? How pleasant that behavior was. In other words, if you're trying to not drink, don't go to a bar. Why? It's not just because like, well, you're going to drink if you, no, there's a process happening. If you take this hardware system into a bar and it goes in, and the nose smells alcohol or a substance. The eyes see lights dim, dance floor, people waving over there and dancing. All of that cocktail coming together, now it's going to go to memory. And depending on my relationship with that, I'm either going to get a pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling or neutral. Well, if it's pleasant, what am I going to do? I'm going to want to do it. But the whole point was that I didn't want to drink again. But here I am battling. Do I want to or not? How is that happening? Because I took my hardware system, my keyboard, somewhere when it got hit from memory, it said, hey, you used to have a lot of fun doing this, or you used to get in a lot of trouble doing this. And one or the other is going to direct me in the moment. Where do I go with it? Does that make sense? What I'm saying? So my message today to you today is like, you have the power to affect your own life, but only if you're awake in the present moment and allow it to be a blank slate and to manifest itself as it's supposed to. Not our projections of how I want it to be, how it should be, but how it's actually happening. Because the manifestation right now, my experience, my present experience right now, the reason it's happening is because of process of cause and effect. I am standing right here right now because of relationships that I've created with you, and I've been invited again. It wasn't just, somebody looking up and it's like, oh, let's call this guy. There's a continuous process that is going on. So to be awake and present to knowing that the present moment is a memory empowers us to not project our memories and to allow the new experiences to happen. And then we can record what? New memories to what? Project in the future. So my next encounter with you is going to be based on what? On now, on my experience with you today. When I see you 3 months from now, 6 months from now, or next week, if I leave today with a real good feeling with each one of you, when the keyboard system come across each other and they hit each other, it's going to be like, hey, this is pleasant. But if I come here and I'm disrespectful to you, I'm not kind today. Next time the keyboards see each other, it's not going to be that same chemical release. So our present moment is being dictated by our relationship to objects and memory that we recorded and the projecting onto those objects, that story. If we're living that way, we are entrapped. If we're awake, now we have a choice. Do I want to live my projection? Do I want to live out my story? When I wake up in the morning in my room, in my bedroom, yeah, I want to live out. I'm in my bedroom. I'm safe. Everything's okay. And then I go about my day. See? So it is in the present moment that we get to actually make changes for the rest of our lives. That's why for me, it's so important to teach mindfulness and the importance of mindfulness, because it is through mindfulness that we are awake, that there is a process going on. What are my eyes seeing right now? What are my ears hearing right now? See, I'm not just hearing and tasting and feeling, and no, there's a little light awareness inside that is looking through my eyes. It's hearing through my ears. It's feeling through my skin. So I am a process alive coming together right now, manifesting itself as Rudy. I'm not my body. I'm not my feelings. I'm not my perceptions. I'm not my mental, not individually. I'm all of them happening all at once, right here, right now. And they don't have, even though I spoke in a linear manner, like the body, the feeling, it's not in that order. I put it in that order to explain it to you linearly to make sense. But feelings, perceptions, mental formation, they're all happening right here, right now. I can break it down and make a duality by making it linear. This led to this and this, but it's not like that. That's how we study it, and we can break it down to analyze it. But it's a happening. It's happening right here, right now, all at once. Because of that, it's so easy for us to attach ourselves to our body, to our feelings, person. That is me. That is who I am. You know, when I talk about my car, when I say that is my car, you don't confuse my car for me. This is my body. Don't confuse my body for me. Anything that we can see, anything that we can taste, anything that we can feel, anything that the sensorial system can pick up is not me. So even myself, as I am talking right now, if I'm able to see this, that's not me. There's something that is seeing that, and that something is not that. There's a difference between that which is seeing and observing and that which is being observed, and they're not the same thing. You see, so a lot of our suffering is happening because of our attachments to the belief that I am this thing has a story, and my job is to live out this story. And it's not. I am free to make my life manifest itself whatever I want within my capacity in this moment. So my wishes today is to record really good memories with you. So that next time when we run into each other, it'll be a really sweet, nice experience. And we move on, and impermanence is taking place. Impermanence is taking place. Remember, everything here, this podium right here, is decomposing right now. Just like our bodies. We don't die one day. We've always been waiting to, it's like not waiting, but hopefully it would never come that one day. But it's not, it's happening right now. At a molecular level, we're changing right now. We're aging right now. And there's external conditions that are affecting that process. So this podium, let's say we could say, how long do you think it's going to last? 200 years, 100 years if we leave it alone? Here, let's say 50 years. Okay. In 50 years, it's not just going to fall apart. By 50 years, it would have been already falling apart. And it would be based on what? On external, so how much sun hits it, how much weight is put on it. You see, so at a molecular level, it's being affected by external circumstances that are either speeding the process or slowing down the process. Okay? So I hope that today, when you leave here today, that you are at least momentarily are able to stay awake, and throughout the rest of the day that you get glimpses and you ask yourself, where am I right now? What am I projecting onto things right now? Every time I see that, it's like, oh, that again. Why? That again is based on a memory from before onto it. This is brand new. Might not be, that again, if I let it be. So let's all free each other, free each other from our own minds, free each other from what we think anything needs to be, for the allowance of things to just be, because impermanence is already taking place. Sit back and enjoy the ride, and then make little adjustments. But that's about it. Okay. That being said, I'll leave it with that, and I open it up for questions.